Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, produced by South Carolina State University Public Service and Agriculture. Elevate highlights the research, extension work, and leadership shaping communities across South Carolina and beyond. Get ready for a dynamic conversation filled with lessons, inspiration, and strategies to help elevate your impact and advance your community.
Welcome to Elevate, the podcast featuring entrepreneurs, leaders, and everyday people who share the journeys and defining moments that help elevate their lives and who are growing something greater for themselves, their communities, and the future. Elevate is produced by South Carolina State University Public Service and Agriculture, where we innovate and educate to elevate the quality of life and raise the standard of living for all South Carolinians. I'm your host, Elizabeth Mosley Hawkins, and I'm glad you've joined us today. Now, before we move on with the show, I need you to do one thing for me. Like, share, follow, and subscribe to our social platforms. You can find us at SC State 1890. So, from the farm fields of Bowman to boardrooms across the globe, Robert Etheridge has spent his career cultivating growth in agriculture, business, and people. A Clemson-trained agricultural scientist turned entrepreneur, Robert climbed the ranks from research and product development to leading sales and marketing teams across the U.S. and Asia before answering the entrepreneurial call to acquire and grow Mixon Seed Service, where he serves as president. Today, he's helping sow innovation across the Southeast by building niche seed solutions and customer-first service in an industry dominated by global giants. Robert, we're so glad to have you on Elevate.
You bet, Liz. Glad to be here. Looking forward.
Now, I don't see any orange today, but I did mention that you're a Clemson grad.
Yeah, you bet.
So, and you're sitting on a South Carolina State podcast, so should
Sure.
Bulldog Nation be concerned?
Not at all, not at all, not at all. No, blood does run orange, I must say.
Does?
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it later, but it's where my wife and I met.
Yes.
And have two kids, one that's a recent graduate and one that's a upcoming freshman. So,
Nice.
upcoming junior.
Junior, oh
correct
wow.
me.
So you'll be empty nesters soon.
We will be, yeah, 2 years and counting.
So do you all have any plans for when the children file the coop?
You know, hopefully they don't go too far. So I hope
Okay.
it doesn't create too much of a, too much of a rift. But maybe a little more travel.
Yeah.
I picked up golf as a hobby in the last 5 or 6 years, so maybe a little more golf.
Okay.
Yeah, but that'll be a sad day. We enjoy them.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's fun having them clear nearby.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
You bet. Well, I'm excited about our discussion.
Yeah, so we definitely wanted you on the show because Mixon Seed is a partner of South Carolina State Public Service and Agriculture.
Sure.
So I think we've been probably working with you for about 4 or 5 years.
3 or 4 years. Absolutely. Yeah, time flies.
Can you talk to us a little bit of how that partnership developed with SC State PSA?
Yeah, you bet. So I guess, I met with Dr. Lewis Whiteside. Again, we had the Bowman connection from growing up. He and I met, and I'm not even sure, maybe through Palmetto Ag Business Council, and Ronnie Summers. Ronnie's always a good matchmaker. So I guess Ronnie's how we got connected. We were interested in growing the business here in Orangeburg and looking for talent and also looking for customers, right? We need to sell seed is how we make a living around this place. And knew South Carolina State was doing some great work with the farm out in Olar. And so we started a conversation around how we could work with SC State on that, and it just blossomed.
So from Olar, and then we ventured into a partnership with the seeds.
Yeah, and I guess that was 3 years ago, maybe 2023.
Yes.
We kicked that off. So
yep.
we were excited, and still are. That has certainly morphed, and don't know if we'll talk any about that. But morphed from where we started, but from a Mixon perspective, and really just from a stakeholder in South Carolina, to me it was a model of public-private partnership.
Yes.
We had a real clear eye of, I thought, what we were good at, which was, producing locally relevant seed, logistics and making sure we get the right things to the right place.
Yes.
SC State was really clear at what they did well. So some real research innovation that was taking place there. And then public service.
Yes.
And I think that it was probably that public service element. You know, if I think back to Dr. Dramay and Dr. Whitesides and I in an office one Friday afternoon.
Right. Hammering out the details.
We were hammering out the details, but I tell you where it started, even before the details, was just a willingness to partner, you know, and to do some things differently, do it in a different way than what we've done before. And it really was all based in service. Like, how can SC State serve their constituency? You know, how can we serve the state? And so just, to me, it was a real model of why you do things that matter and have a purpose.
Right.
And then how we did it.
Yes.
And I think the innovation there was really public-private partnership. And again, everybody does what they do best.
And the seeds, they were cover crop seeds.
Cover crop seeds,
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, so a growing, you know, really a growing market there nationally, and I think a wonderful example of sort of agriculture historically being viewed a lot of times as having a negative impact on natural resources. And what we know through good science and research programs like SC State and Clemson is things like cover crop on the farm actually are positive from an environmental standpoint. So they clean water, they keep soil in place, they minimize erosion, they make the soil healthier, they reduce nutrient contents that needed to be added to subsequent crops. So just a lot of things there that were good for, you know, good for the land, good for farmers, and good for the state.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that I wanted to say, because it was specifically designed for farmers to help them in this process. And so you said something off camera that was good news.
Uh-oh.
You said all of the product is gone.
Oh yeah, exactly. Thank you. You were leading me. I didn't pick it up. But yeah, we had a great run. You know, in 23 and 24, and basically sold out of product that was designed specifically for South Carolina State. And I'll maybe say a little bit. There was some innovation there. We sort of had a view of cover crop that we had traditionally made for the Southeast and thinking commercial ag. The SC State team had a vision for doing that, but also maybe having some edible food sources in those cover crops.
Right.
And so we created a unique blend for SC State called a salad mix. And I thought just a really innovative way to get most of the good out of what we expect from a cover crop and be a locally grown food source as well. So some good innovation. But we sold out, which was a good thing. Of course, we went through 2025, which I guess was a season of step back and regroup. And again, a testament to you guys' leadership, staying consistent and persistent.
So
A&P.
We're looking forward to getting the mix back to our farmers and helping them.
We're excited. And again, we've had a few customers walk in already.
Awesome.
So folks are anxious to get it going again. So
good.
We'll be, I think we won't make any spring mix. We're too far down that path. But we're certainly gearing up for the fall. And a robust kickoff to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
we're excited.
you.
No, we're excited. It's the right thing. We're glad it came back around.
So Robert, I always love to say I like to talk about a person's upbringing.
Sure.
And so you're from Bowman, South Carolina.
The metropolitan area, yes.
Oh, it's so big. So big with one stoplight.
Exactly right. That's right.
But you know, Bowman is a rural community. It's a type of place where everybody knows your family, or we like to say, who are your people? Right. And so so with that, I'm sure growing there, you learned a lot about grit and perseverance and resilience.
Sure.
Talk to me about growing up in rural South Carolina, Bowman, South Carolina, and what were some of the major lessons that you learned that helped you become a better leader?
Well, it's a great question. So growing up in Bowman, again, was a great experience, and you're right, rural ag-based community. You know, one of the early lessons was just the privilege of working in ag, right? We literally have a chance to feed the world. And you know, a lot of careers and a lot of great people doing a lot of great things, but that ability to serve locally and globally, and I had really no knowledge of the global world growing up in Bowman. That came later.
Yes.
But again, the theme around service and what we do having a real impact on changing people's lives was something that I really did see early. Again, and service, whether that was church, faith is a big theme in my life, and in that community, in that community's life. So service to each other, service to the good Lord above, and then just hard work. It's not necessarily easy, and you don't want to ever have all the answers, but if you work hard, and try to put pieces of the puzzle together, make a decision, see where it takes you as you get new data, reevaluate, and then continue to iterate as you go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, you said so many things I want to talk about. So, you talked about data.
Right.
And when I was looking through your bio, one of the things that I recognize, or a theme for me that kind of presented itself, is taking risks. Because you sort of reinvented yourself, right, throughout your career, and then at some point you said, I want to be an entrepreneur. When you're making risks, what type of things are you looking at, evaluating, like you said, data? What are those things that you're looking at?
Yeah. So I had so I started with DuPont when I left Clemson, and was fortunate to have really good management there. And for me, that really good management was defined by people that cared.
Okay.
And they cared enough to understand me, cared enough to take the time to mold and help shape me. And one of the foundational lessons I learned early on was create options. It's always better to have more options than few. And so as I sort of progressed through, early career, even through graduate school leading into that, I never had a vision early on that I'd be sitting here today owning a business in Orangeburg, right? That was never the vision. But the vision always was try to work hard enough to create an option so I have a choice as to what the next step is. And again, that helped me learn to take appropriate risk. And Danny Mixon, who you know here in town, Danny probably has the best description I've ever heard around risk, which is, risk a little to gain a lot, don't risk a lot to gain a little. And so trying to always understand what that equation was like, here's the data, here's what the opportunities are, if the weight of the upside is bigger than the weight of the downside, then maybe that's a risk we take that'll open up another door, another option. Whether I ever choose to step through it or not would be a future decision. But doing the things early on to provide as many options as I could was, I think, one of the things that's helped me.
And so staying on the topic of risks, so you've analyzed the data, you've looked at where the market is, you understand what farmers need, and let's say you do decide to kind of go through the door, but maybe it didn't pan out the way you anticipated it. What does that do for you? What do you learn from that?
Well, first, it's just real, right? And particularly in the agriculture business, right? So we sit here today, we're in a historic drought. So we had a plan, right? We had a strategy coming into the year, and we're in the worst drought, I guess, in recorded history. So it has forced us, to change, and the plan that we thought we had in January is not the plan today. And so I guess to me, the point out of that is, make a decision, and again, I am a data guy, so let's get as much data as we can get, but at some point you just have to, you never have perfect data, you never have all the data, so it's get enough to make an informed decision, make a decision, and then execute, because I think 90% of strategy falls down just in the execution. But then be aware, be tuned into the market, be tuned into customers, because something will change, it always does, and then iterate as you go forward. And so, again, and this year's a great example. We thought we would be selling lots of soybeans, let's just say. We hadn't had rain in 6 weeks, it seems like. And so that's not our plan anymore. So we're focusing on things like millet and sorghum that are more drought tolerant than, say, a soybean is. So just, again, to me, it's don't wait on perfect data because you'll never make a decision. Make the decision, execute violently, if you will, but then just be open. Things are going to change, and be open to the market to understand that, and then iterate as you go. And don't get hung up on, I think as a leader, I think it's easy to get hung up on maybe a decision that you or the team made, and being concerned about, was that a bad decision?
Right, right.
The worst decision is no decision.
Yeah.
And so again, if the data changes and the situation evolves, move with it. To me, that's good leadership.
But what if there's some leaders who just are too afraid to make the decision? You may have all the data. I guess there might be a level of indecisiveness there.
So I guess to me that kind of leans on the team aspect. Okay. So I'm blessed here. We built a good team over the last 6 or 7 years. We've got people that care about what we're doing. They're smart, they work hard, and so I really do lean hard on the team. Okay. And so I think it gives me a point of other input, because if it was just me making decisions, we would not be in the situation we're in today, right? It'd be far worse. So to me, another hallmark of leadership is surround yourself with good people, and then chart a course, let them do what they do, which is be excellent in their function. But then listen and be attentive to to just what feedback you're getting.
Okay. I want to talk about your career path. You talked about options. So you went from research with DuPont, marketing, sales, and then something within you said, I think I want to be an entrepreneur.
Sure.
How did you get there? It seems like you were calculated or intentional in learning all that you could from those different roles that you had. So how did all of that kind of merge together to and I didn't say you have a PhD, so I really should be calling you doctor.
No, you should not. We're good. We're okay. We're okay with that.
How did you get to this seat?
Yeah, again, I wish I could say there was some grand plan there. But again, I think it was a case of made decisions early on to provide more options, not fewer. Again, I had great mentors, and it starts at home. My father's, we may chat about him a little later, but my dad's still one of the best friends I've ever had and still have. And again, he instilled in me, just a work ethic and a support system that's enabled me just to take chances and continue to grow. Without fear of failure. And not that failure is good, but it creates a learning opportunity. I think he instilled that in me early. So the theme there was around people that were willing to just invest in me. He was central to that. Mentors throughout my career at DuPont. And I think really so I certainly love agriculture. I love the technology, and I love what we're able to do again locally and globally around nutrition, and there's a whole story there, I think. But I really love the people. And I think I fell in love with the people development because I benefited so much from it. How does a kid from Bowman end up in Singapore and managing a business in Asia, right?
Yes.
It was just good people that cared enough to invest in me. And so I think that was probably the central theme as I went from, a very technical role and thinking I was going to be a scientist. Did that for a couple of years and realized there was more people, whether it was customers, whether it was other internal stakeholders, there seemed to be more people and more relationship on the commercial side of the business. So that's sort of what turned me but toward the commercial side versus the R&D side. And then, as I progressed through career, great companies and great people, but it got to be a little more about numbers and spreadsheets and deadlines, which are all important.
Right.
It's how you manage a business. But it seemed to be what was lost was the people development and the mentoring. And I guess I not woke up, but I was 47, 48, and a guy, Milt Lauder, who you may know. Milt was a psychologist that worked for Clemson, and I had Milt come speak to some teams of mine at DuPont and Pioneer over the years, just around personal development and growth. And Milt and I were riding back from a session in Alabama to Greenville, and I started talking about this idea that I had that, hey, I'm 48, kind of mid-career. If I'm ever going to try entrepreneurship, You know, I feel like now, you know, I have an interest, but I wasn't sure.
Right.
And Milt, being the good friend that he was, looked me in the eye and said, if not you, who, and if not now, when? And it was like the proverbial slap in the face that I needed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it wasn't just that one conversation, but that was certainly a formative conversation for me, that led me to say, you know, there's an itch. There's an itch that I've been wanting to scratch, and it is in the ag world, and I think it has a lot to do with people development, market development, and then, you know, Danny Mixon was a customer of ours, and it just so happened about the right time.
Wow.
I was down calling on Danny, and we were able to work out that he was looking for an exit plan, and I was looking for an opportunity. And so, you know, just a neat story. But
I love that.
people development, mentorship, and then again, just being open to opportunities when they present themselves.
And so you are in ag, of course. And so how are you growing people? How are you developing your staff from a professional development standpoint?
So we really hire for culture, and it took me a while to figure this out.
Okay.
You know, culture is to me an overused word, right? People throw it around.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes down to it, probably don't give it the due that it deserves. You know, for me, as we started building a business here, we knew early on that it was all going to be based on service.
Okay.
And so, you know, great prop we've got here, right? We actually put it in the name. Service to each other, service to customers
love that.
in a way that reflects the good Lord above. And so, you know, once we started really getting grounded on that, and I was hesitant to put the faith piece out there early on. I think I've seen that overdone a few too many times, but as we really got serious about growth and how to do that in a sustainable way, we really started leaning into culture. And for us, that starts with, do you care about people? Are you committed to service? And if you got those two things, we can figure out the X's and the O's. And so we've been able to go find great local talent.
Wow.
They want to be here.
Yeah.
They want to be in ag, and again, they care about what we're doing.
And then the customer service aspect, you know, sometimes that can be a challenge for businesses.
Sure.
They're not listening, right, to the customer's needs.
Sure.
So how do you all make sure that you're meeting the demands and needs of the customers, but maybe also in kind of modeling your products for things that you foresee in the industry so that they have the products?
Sure. Yeah, great question. I think it goes back for, job one is show them we care, and part of that is as simple as showing up. People are busy. We've all got phones in our pockets, with a million different messages and sound bites, and so I think you can't ever overestimate the value of somebody showing up. And our business is through ag retail, so if you look across the Southeast, we work from, say, Florida up into Virginia. Okay. Every little farm community has 1 to 4 or 5 farm stores. Our first job is, again, be relevant. So show up, knock on the door, be professional, look people in the eye, be prepared. That's 90% of the battle. The other piece of that is once we sort of show and establish credibility, we care about you, we're interested in your business. We've been, I think, fairly good at finding niche markets. And so, if you've been paying attention, it's not really a good time in ag these days. Commodity prices are depressed, input costs are up. So niche markets, I think, are one way we work ourselves out of this. And so we've been able, through some partnerships with SC State, with Clemson, with the various land grants, we will go in and in-license technology that's been locally developed, say in the Panhandle of Florida. Okay. So it's a pretty small market, but we're able to bring that technology in, scale it, and then have the commercialization capacity to take it back to producers in that area. I think, being able to show our channel partners, our retail partners, those small niche markets, it shows them a way to add value locally to growers, because if we're not doing that, none of us really have a job. So we enable them to show value to grower, and I think that earns us that earns us business with them.
And how exactly do you demonstrate value, right? You have so many competitors. There's also, global market.
Yeah.
How do you do that
It's
as
hard.
an entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's hard. And we're always, we're resource constrained, right? I mean, I left DuPont and Pioneer and Corteva with, huge R&D and development budgets. Well, we don't have that at Mixon Seed. But what we do have is a real spirit of collaboration. And so here comes great institutions like South Carolina State, like Clemson, that have this great functionality called extension.
Right.
And so again, I love what's old is new again, right?
Yes.
It's a wonderful, wonderful way that we can take technology and show it to a small group of people, and maybe that's at a research farm in Olar, with you guys. Maybe it's at the Blackville station with Clemson. We're able to put our technology on display there and then get local farmers coming in, so we get a great magnification effect or multiplication effect on here's our technology with many more eyes would get to see it than if we were just trying to do that kind of work ourselves. So partnership, collaboration, and then shout out to land-grant universities. They're more needed today, I think, than ever before.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
The development of the niche markets, there's a level of curiosity that's required to have innovation.
Sure.
How does someone who has a thought of a business, or they see a need and they want to fill it, how do they leverage that curiosity so that they can see that vision come to reality? Yeah, sure. Market research, and it doesn't have to be, I think when people think of market research, they think of multi-million-dollar case studies and consultancies, and I've been there, done that. Yes. I think to me it was understand who are the gatekeepers. So maybe it's a process, or one of the things we've been working on probably most aggressively in the last 9 months has been non-GMO soybeans. And so in the grand scheme of things, non-GMO soybeans are very small. But we saw 1 or 2 demand centers, so people in a certain part of the South that were looking for non-GMO beans. We went and sat down and said, hey, we're interested in what you're doing, tell us more about it. So it gave me confidence that these 1 or 2 seemingly disparate dots are actually pieces of a trend line. And I have people that I trust that really know markets, and so we sat down and said, where do you think this is going to go? And then back to that risk profile, it looked like the upside was bigger than the downside, so we started to make incremental investments. So we understood more, we had more business, so we had a little bit more resources to put into it. So again, a little bit of an educated, calibrated risk, I guess is the way I would say that. But again, to me, the key in that market development is find people that know markets, that you can trust, seek a lot of input, and then again start small and make an investment and see where it takes you. See where it goes. And then iterate as things change. I just thought about something when you talked about the encouragement that you received from that led you to become an entrepreneur. Sure. So once you knew that you were going to launch into owning a business, what was that one thing, or what was the first thing that you did that might be helpful for someone who's vacillating between the idea of whether or not they're going to launch into that space? So for me, again, I was married, still am, thank goodness. So that's Elizabeth.
To Elizabeth, exactly. Love of my life for 32 years now. Yes, 31 years. So she and I sat down and had a real heart-to-heart to say, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm excited about it, and I believe this is going to work. But there's a chance this won't work. And so, we had kind of the critical conversation of what do we do? And again, risk reward. And she was very encouraging. And so I guess the point out of that is, be real. Be real. It may not, it just may not work. But in my case, again, I came to the conclusion that I was still young enough at 48.
Just to do it.
Just to do it. It was worth the risk.
Okay.
So yeah.
And you talked, so you of course consulted Elizabeth venturing out, but you also mentioned your dad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And your relationship with him, and how he's helped inspire you and encourage you.
Sure.
And so about a year ago, almost a year in November.
So I might get emotional if you go down that path.
Okay. But a year, and I want to bring this up.
It's a great subject. It's a great topic.
A year ago, you donated your kidney to your father.
Yeah.
And I'm just from what you said earlier, I'm sure it was an easy.
It was the easiest decision ever.
Easy decision.
For me.
Yes.
For me.
What were some of the things that went in your mind that helped you say, I know you said it was an easy decision, right? But what were some of the things that you thought about?
Yeah, just so faith. I mean, just to kind of cut to the end of the story, it was faith, and just it became clear to me as we started walking down that path, because it's a long process, right? And part of it is I don't think I understood the level of testing and diagnostics that it was going to take. So I sort of made the decision before I had all the facts in that case, maybe. But no, seriously, it was a lot of testing. But it seemed like every single step of the way, there was a fork in the road. One was good, one was bad. And we always were able to walk the good fork. And so it literally was the good Lord walking ahead of us and laying down pavers for us to walk down. And I guess maybe just, so that was the process and kind of the medical piece of it. And, go all the way back to where we started, right? I mean, so my dad, and I think so he works here now, and he's actually out making deliveries, so he's doing great.
Yeah.
And what would have been a very sad ending is again at this point is just a phenomenal story. But he was and still is just a model of service. I mean, he served me. I lost my mom when I was in the 10th grade. I'm just in a tragic accident, and so his relationship and ours was close then, and it only grew stronger. So I watched him encourage me as an only child, and him being alone, he encouraged me to move and go to Asia and do all this stuff. So a real service to me. He served the church there in the Mount Tabor community for 25 or 30 years, and so he was the walking embodiment of a faithful Christ servant. That was willing to serve. You were the vessel. Felt compelled. Right, absolutely. And I literally was just a vessel for that. You're right. I mean, it was the good Lord working, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
What did you learn from that experience about life and time? Being an entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure you're busy, you're
it's a little bit
traveling. How did that help you kind of repurpose life, the meaning of life for you?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I'd say the good thing, I mean, it's certainly, and they're not tropes, but they're truisms. I mean, you appreciate every day more, you appreciate family more, but again, I've been blessed. That lesson had already been instilled in me by him. And again, Elizabeth, who has been just a wonderful partner, that's enabled me, all the cool things we've talked about that I've done professionally. Well, there's somebody that's been home, keeping continuity in the family and consistency, and doing all the things that nobody sees, but matter in the grand scheme of things more than anything I've done. So it was a reminder to me that all of that is important. But again, I'm blessed that there was nothing revelatory in that.
Right.
Those have been good messages that I've been able to, kind of lean into all along, I think.
And then, so growing up, you've seen your father sacrifice for you, and now your son and your daughter, they've seen you sacrifice. The ultimate sacrifice, right?
Sure.
So what is it that you hope they've learned from this experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think be the best version of themselves. I mean, they're gifted. We're all gifted, right? It's just in different ways. And so my hope and more importantly my prayer for them is, find somebody you can share life with, united in faith, and then, man, be the best version of you.
Yes.
And again, back to our earlier comments, take risks. And don't be afraid to fail, because again, the failure is what makes you stronger, it's what helps you grow. But again, be willing to take calculated risks.
And my final question to you, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, either through Mixon Seed or just in your personal walk?
That's a great one. I think care. People don't care what you know until they know you care. And so my great hope is the team here at Mixon, the family here, knows I care, and that we demonstrate that through, again, just developing good people, and then certainly the family knows that I care. That, to me, that's the most important thing.
Awesome. And I also want to take a little bit of time, if you want to share some information with prospective customers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell them a little bit more about Mixon Seed, where they can find you online, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you for the opportunity. So Mixon Seed Service. You can see us online at mixonseed.com. But our other brand that's a little more customer facing is a brand called Ag South Genetics. And it's our proprietary line of things like wheat and oats and soybeans, all kind of relevant to the South. So developed here, grown here, sold here. Yeah, and then another one that we're really excited about is a wildlife brand called Southland Wildlife.
Okay.
And again, we're trying to get locally grown, relevant products for habitat management, wildlife food plots. And so you can find us online there at southlandwildlife.com, and we also sell through retailers all around the Southeast. So you could find us online or in their retail stores.
Awesome. Well, Richard, thank you so much.
You bet. Liz, I enjoyed it. Great discussion.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
I want to thank our guest, Robert Etheridge, president of Mixon Seed Service, for joining us and for sharing his insight on taking bold, calculated risks in business. Robert also encourages curiosity among entrepreneurs to help inspire innovation. And finally, from Robert, we learned the ultimate form of love can sometimes be best demonstrated through acts of sacrifice. We want to thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in. Remember, follow us at SC State 1890, and don't just watch the journey, elevate it and grow from it.